This is Gary Hess. He's Gary Criswell. We're here at Monacan High School where our Thursday night style game of the week went to Bird. 36-6 was the final. Now, this game was really closer than that much of the game, but the Skyhawks defense was again dominant as Bird improves to 6-0.
I was really impressed at how prepared the Bird defense was. That Monacan offense, it was tough to operate a spread offense the way they like to do it. And plus, they were minus Flood, their great field general. The kid has now got, it's working on his second year in this offense. He could have made a difference. Just tough to operate with a young quarterback under these conditions. But Bird's defense was so well prepared. They stayed they really didn't blitz a lot. They really didn't stun a lot. They just kept everything in front of them. They recognized plays before they started to develop. And that always creates opportunities for turnovers and big plays. And Bird certainly had a bunch of those on defense tonight.
A lot of different heroes are starting to show up for the Skyhawk defense. Some names we haven't talked about as much. But you know what? It comes back to those two linebackers. Ashby and Moore are just having phenomenal seasons.
But they've got a great cast of characters around them. And I always like to talk about, from one night to the next, one of those defensive linemen are shining more than others, at least how many times we call their names. But as a unit, they play very well. And you ask any set of linebackers, like a highly productive group like Bird, and they're going to tell you those guys up front are protecting us. And they've got a right mix. And, that's what championship teams do. They find ways to blend players. It stretches your depth chart. It improves the conditioning of your players. It allows you to overcome injuries. And that's the Bird formula, and it's coming into play again for a fourth run.
And that third linebacker, Manel Robinson, who we don't talk about as much, had a big game tonight as well. You mentioned Flood not being in the lineup. It's going to be interesting to see this team when Flood's dynamic talents are back on the field to go on and become that 1-2 punch with Hamlin.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. And again, playing on a short field, Monacan's defense did a good job. They held Bird under 300 yards, and in a fight where Monacan's offense is running efficiently, that might be enough. That might be a winning formula, but Bird had too many easy opportunities, and aside from a few penalties, really didn't hurt themselves that much.
Now, a bunch of games aren't going to be played till Monday. There were about 8 or 9 games tonight. One game of note, Lee Davis wins again. The Confederates stay undefeated. We're going to have to find room for them in the CBS 6 Fox Sports 9.
Well, actually, and you said that in the broadcast, and people started texting me, and they reminded me that they play Hatley next week.
So there you go.
Well, that sounds interesting, anyway.
Yes, it does. It sounds very interesting indeed. And so we'll learn a little bit more. Lee Davis's schedule is going to continue to get tougher, but the Confederates have definitely taken a step forward this year.
And don't discount the teams that are scheduled to play tomorrow night. Good luck with that. And the teams that are scheduled to play on Monday, and I believe Lee Davis and Hatley and Holland Springs are in that group.
Playing Monday night, yes. So that's going to be that Capital District round robin is going to be amazing as it goes on. Douglas Freeman stays undefeated. They look to be probably a lock to go 8-0 going into the Godwin game week 9, but they've got things going in a positive direction as well.
Yeah, been a long time since a team has won any 2 games in 4 days.
Yep, but the Freeman Rebels got it done. Now that the calendar has turned to October, the landscape of this season is really starting to take shape.
I think so. I want to see how the races do take shape. It's even interesting in leagues that are like the Dominion that seem to be a little bit top heavy. Tonight was a big hurdle for Boise Bird. But the bottom line is you either put yourself in a position to advance or you at least come away from the game a better football team. As bad as that looks for the Chiefs, you factor in the weather and all the weird circumstances and a backup quarterback. I think both teams, Bird through their preparation and Monacan from a standpoint of they've obviously now seen that they can play at that type of speed. They just can't make the mistakes they made. I think both teams come away a lot better. Those are the 2 things you need to, especially with the new playoff systems, where you don't have to have a perfect season. You got to show that steady improvement. You got to find some key players, and you got to set yourself up where your teams offensively and defensively are hard to prepare for.
So Bird and Monacan got the game in tonight. Skyhawks go into a bye week 6-0. They'll be number 1 in our poll again next week. Monday games still have to happen. By the way, one Monday game I want you to remember to keep an eye on is Dinwiddie and Matoaka. Both are 3-1. That's going to be an interesting measuring stick game for those 2 games. Teams on Monday night down at Dinwiddie. And we will have a game of the week next Friday night, which we will decide on after all these games are complete. We'll be on 96.1 The Planet. He's Gary Criswell.